Right, I'm delighted to say I'm joined now by an old mate of mine, David Kurk, who has beaten prostate cancer, who has beaten a heart attack, and is now coming out the right end of coronavirus. How are you, Kurky?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm getting much better. It's been a very interesting journey for the last month, I can assure you.
So, Kurky, you're 62.
Yeah.
You found out you had symptoms of corona. Tell us a little bit about what you've been through and how you came about knowing, firstly, that you had coronavirus, COVID-19.
Well, yeah, I didn't know at the start. I mean, I just, it was 4 weeks ago today, actually. I started a cough and I started to get a bit of a temperature. And I thought, well, maybe this is man flu, maybe it's a cold. Just over the next few days, the symptoms kind of developed and I started to get night sweats. And again, I thought, well, maybe this is a cold, maybe it's a bit of flu. But I get the sweats and then I'd be freezing cold. Then I got a lack of taste and a lack of smell. And I was just watching all the broadcasts and the symptoms they were talking about. I thought, actually, do you know what? This isn't too clever. I'm wondering if I'm getting something here. My wife was also getting wheezing in the chest and tight for breathing and so on. Anyway, so we dialed 111, having dialed our surgery, who just said, we're not taking calls on this, you need to dial 111. So we dialed 111, they called back, and of course they are just going through algorithms and just going through sort of questions and ticking them off, and then they decided someone needs to call you back. So I got a call back from a doctor who suggested paracetamol, keep a watch and wait on it and see how it goes. So it didn't get any better. And at the end of the week, actually then called again. And then a doctor came out and he was very thorough. He listened to my chest. He did blood pressure. He did all those kind of things. And he said, look, it looks like you've got it in a kind of moderate sort of format, not too serious. It's fine. Just keep a watch and wait on it. If you start to get serious breathing problems, then you need to go into hospital. Just call an ambulance. Don't wait. Just call an ambulance. So kind of scared me a little bit. And actually, compared to you mentioned about the cancer and the heart thing, they were manageable because people knew what to do about them. Whereas this was something that people just didn't know what to do about it. So the following week, I was throwing up. I suddenly got one night where I absolutely threw up everyone. I thought, this is really bad. Anyway, we called the doctor again. They said, go in. So we went into Stoke Mandeville. I arrived there. Jane, my wife, had to drop me off in the car park at a special place. They came out to meet me with a gown and with a mask, took me in. So there they immediately took me into a cubicle on my own, a room, and gave me an ECG. And did blood tests and again listened to the chest. They then decided they were going to give me a bag of fluids, so they did that. And this is over a period of 5 or 6 hours. Obviously, a lot of people coming in, and I was lucky to get in when I did because they had a spare cubicle because they couldn't see anyone if they didn't have spare room there.
When was this? When did this all take place?
This was all 2 weeks ago today. Sorry, this was 2 weeks ago today. So that would have been, what would that have been, the 23rd or something, 22nd, 23rd of March. One of the big things I got was, excuse me, lack of energy, lack of sleep, crazy dreams when I did sleep. Again, suddenly feeling better, thinking, oh, this is good, but then just falling over again, and not literally, but anyway, it kind of worked, the fluids and so on, kept going with paracetamol, and they replaced the things I think I've been just, losing. And so that was a couple of weeks ago and steadily got better. And now I'm kind of back to 90%. I'm still coughing. I'm still tight in the chest. And that's sorry, that wasn't planned. That just happened. It's something that I'm not sure how long that will take. No one said anything about that. And to be honest, I'm just happy to be as I am. But I have to tell you that with all the things I've had, medical events in my life, this was without a doubt the worst and the most scary, I think. And at one point I was so low, I just thought, I don't want to be here anymore. Actually, I've had enough of this. And if there's an alternative, I'm going to be like this the rest of my life. I've had enough. But luckily I came out of that, and my wife was amazing, and she's a psychologist, so she I think I'm a case study more than anything else, but she kind of helped me through amazingly over the last few weeks.
One of the questions from my missus Julia, she wants to know, do you think there's going to be any long-term difficulties for your lungs?
I don't know. I won't be smoking 60 a day, that's for sure. I don't smoke, by the way, but I just It feels like it is now, but I think there are exercises. I've got an app. Sorry, not now. Someone sent me a video you can do, which you breathe in time to it. And one of the tests, by the way, that when I started this whole thing off was to hold your breath, take a deep breath, hold it for 10 seconds and see if you could not wheeze or cough during the 10 seconds that follow, and do that 2 or 3 times. Yeah, Rick, I can see you doing it there. Look like you're mastering that all right. But, that. So to answer Julia's question, I hope not. I don't know, and it's only time will tell.
Okay. Question from Jenny Cole in Weybridge. How quickly were you tested, and what kind of medical assistance did you receive, e.g. medication or ventilators?
Excuse me. I wasn't tested, but they did all the tests they did. As I said, they did not for coronavirus. They weren't kind of testing them. So I had a chest X-ray. I had blood tests, and they did all the bloods basically, and an ECG, as I mentioned, and they listened to me and so on. And they did all the, the saturation of blood and how good it was, and the oxygen in the blood and so on. I'm not medically trained, so I don't kind of understand a lot of this stuff. But they were happy that they were okay, but they felt that I'd got coronavirus. So, but not serious enough to keep me in hospital. And I didn't want to stay in hospital, frankly. What were they going to do? So the breathing was okay. So
two weeks ago, you were in hospital. You then let out of hospital. Do you think that, well, we're now 2 weeks further down the line, we're getting a lot of people saying how stretched the NHS is and that we need to stay home. Not enough people are heeding that information. Do you think that there need to be stricter rules, really, on what we do?
Yeah, I do. I'm just going to finish off by answering Jenny's other question about medication and so on. So I wasn't on ventilator or anything like that, but what they did give me, they found I had a chest infection as well. Don't know if that was linked or whether it's separate, but they gave me some antibiotics, and which I took over 5 days. So they kind of worked as well as the fluids. And the fluids were important, I think, because I was just lacking those nutrients, which were important to me. I think people are nuts at the moment. I'm reading stories of people going out yesterday, having picnics and so on. What is wrong with people? People are dying from this. This isn't a joke. We're not all superhumans who are going to be resistant to this. I was just talking to a next door neighbor from 2 meters away. Their neighbor had it. It's just like, this is out there. Someone cycles past you, they sneeze, you breathe it in through your car window. We don't know we're doing that, but it happens. So I think that I think most people realize how serious this is, but there's a tranche of people who are just going, well, I don't care, I'm going to go out and play football.
If you had to give any advice to people that think they've got it, what would you say?
Well, ring 111, and get there. Look, the first person you speak to is just reading off a list, but they will go through the algorithms and they'll put you through, and they'll get a doctor to call you or whatever. That's the only way of dealing with it. I read yesterday, I think Watford General are not accepting anybody to come into the hospital unless they're having a baby at the moment, because they're full. So you can't just turn up in a hospital. You need to go through the proper channels. And if you think you've got it, call them. That's what they're there for.
And Jane has had it as well, your missus. Now, it must be quite difficult, both of you having it, and you had different strains of it. Yours was a bit more serious, I understand.
Yeah, it was. And thank goodness we weren't both as bad as each other, because I don't know what we'd have done. No one could have come in to help us. So we would have just been lying there in separate rooms going, and just hoping for the best sort of thing. But she was amazing. If people have got it, you've just got to be, I think, common sense, be safe. And we went out for a walk today, and we it sounds ridiculous. We climbed over a star. We both, I said, we just touched that star. So when we came home, we furiously washed our hands, because you don't know, 5 people who've walked over there, how long it lasts on wood. It can't, it's 2 days, apparently, I think, or 2 hours, I can't remember. But, anything you touch, you've got to think, who's touched that before me? You go through a door, you pick up, some money, you go to a shop and you exchange money. You just don't know.
Yeah, we've been washing our money. We've been washing our coins, washing bananas. It's crazy, but I suppose it has to be done. Question from Andy in Walton. Do you think we're doing enough about this, and do we know the gravity of this situation?
Well, look, it's not for me to comment, are we doing enough? That,
That's the I think that's the question. You've experienced it firsthand. Do we realise how big this situation is?
I don't think we do. You can tell by the number of people who are still going outside. I think a lot of people do. I think a lot of people don't. I think one of the benefits, actually, of this whole thing, I was talking to Jane about this earlier, my wife was saying, we travel a lot independently, not together. And this has been a fantastic time, in a way, for us to really catch up and be with each other at home and talking to some of the neighbours today. It's made people speak to each other and really sort of communicate in a community kind of way. But I don't think everybody's engaged with it. It must be awful for people who are in a flat with a couple of kids, can't get out. You know, I can't imagine how difficult that must be. Is the government doing enough? Who knows? I mean, you know, who knows what government's doing? We're doing better than Trump, I suspect. Yeah. Sorry for any Americans watching this who follow Trump, but I'm afraid, you know, he won't wear one of these. Why not? Because it doesn't look good in front of the office. Well, you know, the man's crazy. Personal views. Yes, there you go. Exactly. So I think yes, why not? And indeed.
Brilliant. Well, Kurky, thanks very much for your time, mate. I'll let you get back to your weekend, and I want to say thanks for sharing your experience. And I hope this has been helpful for anyone watching it. If there are any questions, feel free to leave a comment, and we'll try and respond to those. And good luck. Stay safe and
stay home.
Stay home. Brilliant.
Thanks. Cheers, mate.
Good luck, mate. Stay strong.